In this video, I'm going to paint a simple oil painting and talk you through how to approach it from start to finish. This is perfect if it's your first oil painting. Just remember, this is not about technique or results, it's about getting you started with confidence. Before starting putting the paint down, I've just created a simple sketch of the outline of the subject. I forgot to actually include the core and the stem, so you can do that if you like, but you don't have to. This is simply just to give you some boundaries of the painting that you can follow. I'll be doing this painting with cadmium red, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, titanium white and ivory black. If you don't have these exact colours, that's fine, just do whatever you've got closest. I've just started by putting in my dark reds, which is for the shadow and darker areas of the apple. This is by using a mixture of cadmium red and some green, which you'll need to mix with the blue and the yellow. For the main red area of the apple, I'm just using straight cadmium red because it's really close to the reference photo anyway. Now I'm just simply doing what's called the blocking in stage. So you're wanting to cover the entire subject area, needs to be covered in paint, and this is basically the starting layer. You want to get this as close as possible to your reference, but it doesn't need to be exact. You can always make alterations as you go along. This is what's basically the starting point. So right now I just keep looking at my reference photo and covering the areas with the right value and the right colour as best that I can. I'm not really thinking about any details at the moment, it's just blocking in the colour and making sure it's the right values. As you can see, I've just decided to start darkening the shadow a little bit, and this is just because it just doesn't seem to be the right level of value. You'll see throughout the painting that I'll make numerous changes. This is simply just a part of the normal painting process. You don't get it all right straight away. The best way to think of oil painting is that you're making continuous steps and progress towards the finished painting. It doesn't need to look perfect straight away. If you start having any issues where you don't like how it looks, you can always take a step back and think, okay, what do I need to do to improve this? And it's then simply just a process of keep making small improvements. The white brush you see me using now is my blending brush, which I'm using to smooth out the various areas of the painting. I've got a quick question for you. Is this your first oil painting, or have you tried oil paints before? Let me know in the comments below. If it's your first oil painting, you can just say first painting. I'm just continuing to blend and trying to get the right edge on the shadows. I don't want it to look too blocky. I want the shadow to go in quite gradually, so it's quite soft edges. This will make it look a lot more realistic. What I'm also doing as well is just smoothing through the paint and getting rid of any brush marks. Because the subject is quite smooth, being fruit, it doesn't really have the texture, so you don't really want to have thick brush marks of paint in there. Whenever you're using your blending brush, just make sure to use it dry and keep drying and taking some paint off that gets on there after every time using it. If you're finding this helpful and you want something that helps remove some of the guesswork from starting oil painting, then I've put together a free materials guide. It shows you exactly what you need, so you don't need to feel overwhelmed about all the different materials and supplies out there. You can download it in the description below, and if you want, you can also get my free weekly newsletter with tips and updates. Now I've mostly blocked in the red areas of the painting, I'm moving on to the other colours in there. Now the colour in the reference photo, I would say this is a yellowy beigey colour with a little bit of green in there as well. So if you've got some burnt umber, this will be great to sort of dim down the yellow. If you don't, you can also mix some purple as well and use that. Now I'm just going through and doing the same as before I did with the reds, and just continuing to block in. I just keep looking at the reference photo and seeing where the colours are and trying to match that as closely as possible. With some of the colours that I'm laying down, I'm just going to be putting these colours in and then blending them into the red. The great thing about this reference is that there's a lot going on colour-wise in there, so it's perfect if it's your first painting, but just if you're a beginner in general, it's great practice. Now, I wasn't quite happy with my beige colour. I think it just looked too blocked in. So I ended up adding some of my cadmium red, just in small amounts, and then blending it in, which gave a really good result. This helped to really tone down the colour and make it a smooth transition on the subject. Now I've laid the extra paint on, I'm just using my blending brush to get a smooth transition. This makes it look a lot softer and way more natural. I just keep smoothing around the painting as well to remove those brush marks and make it look softer. Because I'm using oil paint, a lot of the time what I'm doing is simply just spreading the paint on the canvas. As a beginner, the most important things to focus on now in this painting is just having the colours match as close as possible and for them to transition into each other softly. Everything apart from the core should just gradually transition into the next colour and value. To do this, it's just a simple matter of blending. There's probably going to be a few times in the painting where you're just adding paint and then blending it, like I'm doing here. Continuously throughout the painting process, you'll be looking at your painting and comparing it to the reference. So if you need to make any alterations, you're simply doing this, adding paint and then blending. If you look at the reference photo, you will see that the outer part of the shadow is quite soft and the innermost part of the shadow is darker, which is what actually happens naturally. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm just going over the middle a bit more darker. To achieve this, I'm simply adding more green to my dark red. You'll see that I'm starting to put in some of the lighter areas of the painting now. Most of it just doesn't go straight into a highlight, so I'm adding some lighter areas and then I'm blending it in. So it's same as with the shadows really. It doesn't go full into a highlight straight away, it's a gradual. Just keep looking at your reference photo and doing your best here. You don't need to get too technical as a beginner, just try to match it with the photo as closely as you can. What I highly recommend is that you print the photo off with the link being in the description and just stick it on your canvas. That's what I always do. You can also use a laptop screen if you want, have it nearby, but it's just really handy to have it right next to your canvas that you're working on. The entire time through this painting, I'm just painting, looking at my reference photo and adding more paint. And I'm just constantly comparing my painting to the photo. I'm just refining the core of the apple now, making it a little bit darker with a little bit of shadow in there. At this stage of the painting, if yours resembles this at all, then that is very good as a beginner. If it doesn't, then don't worry, it's just a matter of practice. Chances are, from your painting, then it only takes some slight adjustments to massively improve it as well. The key is just simply knowing what to improve. Like when you look at this painting a couple of minutes ago, then it looks more messy and now it's starting to look more refined. It's just the next stage of the painting process. I'm just putting some final adjustments into the apple now. Just keep looking at my reference photo and just fine-tuning some of the areas. And the last bit is to put in my final highlight. Okay, and that's it. If this is your first oil painting, then anything which loosely looks like the reference, then that is a win, and congratulations. From here, a beginner has done everything they need to do. I'm going to continue refining the painting a little bit, just so you can see what things will look like as you start to get more experience. But you don't need to follow or paint along to this bit, unless you really want to. If you've already done a few paintings, then feel free to paint along. But if this is your first painting, or if you're just not feeling too confident yet, then you can stop there if you like. Now, you've got a couple of choices here, I would say. If you want, you can just paint around the entire apple, just the same colour, and that will just do a nice frame around it and make it pop out more. I'm using a mixture of titanium white, ivory black, and a little bit of ultramarine blue. And I'm painting this in the monochrome grayscale. So now I'm just focusing on putting some of the shadows in there and just looking at the reference photo and looking at my darks and lights and trying to get the values correct. You don't really need to be exact with this as a beginner. It's just, if you get it anywhere close, then that's fantastic. Just the process of painting any sort of background in will just make the apple just pop out a lot more. I would say it just frames it really. Especially as you're going over the edges as well, that just cleans the painting up. If there's any bits where you've gone over slightly in the paint, like I have, then it doesn't matter because you can just go over it and clean off those edges. I'm just smoothing out some of the shadows now. Now, I noticed the light source on the apple, I think it's coming from two different directions. So I'm just putting a main shadow, which is the one on the left, and the second shadow coming forward. You don't really need to bother doing this yourself, but if you like, you can just add this in as well. I would say the most important thing is just to smooth the edges with your blending brush. I'm just putting simple final touches and making this more of a smooth transition in the black background. So we're coming towards the end of the painting. If you've painted along with this, then I would really like to know how your results were. Let me know in the comments how it went for you and any issues that you had. I'll try to reply to any comment I receive in this video. And there we have it. If you liked this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my future content. You may also like to watch one of these videos next. If you're brand new to oil painting, then you may be interested in watching this video where I explain why oil painting is actually the easiest medium for beginner artists. Or if you've already gotten started, you might want to watch the next video instead, where I take you through the core essential supplies needed for oil painting.